So when we're looking at um, individuals' IQ tests, we got to think about where it started. So we do have a psychologist, an American psychologist named James McKeen Cattell, who took Galton's psychological method of measuring intelligence and built on it and added more to this method. And he published a set of tests around 1890s for the general public to take, and there's 10 mental tests. So you have the diameter pressure, and this measures the strength of a person's hand grip. And this test is important because it is impossible to separate bodily from mental energy. You have the second one is the rate of hand movement, and this one shows how quickly a person could move their hand across 50 centimeters. And third is the 2-point threshold, and this is where a researcher touched a pair of rubber-tipped compass points to the back of a person's hand. When the tips were close together, the subject felt them as a single point. And then the researcher made an attempt to find the smallest distance in which the tips were felt as two separate points. The fourth one would be the pressure causing pain, and this is where an instrument or an object was pressed against the person's forehead with increasing force, and the aim was to find the amount of pressure needed to cause signs of pain. Then you have weight differentiation, and this is where a person would you have identical boxes or totes, and you put them in order by weight. And their weight in these boxes or totes are really just different by 1 gram, and they ranged from 100 to 110 grams. So they had to put them in order of weight between those two. And then we have the sixth one, which is reaction time for sound. And this is where, for a very brief time, that elapsed between the time when a sound was made and the time that the person reacted to the sound. And then the time for naming colors, a set of red, yellow, green, and blue patches arranged in a random order and shown to a person. The aim was to measure how long it took a person to name the colors. And then you have the bisection of the line, which is a 50 centimeter strip of wood with a sling line attached. And then the person was asked to place the line as close as possible to the exact middle of the strip. The ninth one would be the judgment of time, and the individual would have another person tap out at 10-second intervals, and then the examiner would tap the table and ask the person to signal when another 10 seconds has passed. And then the last one is the number of repeated letters, and this one measured how well a person could repeat back a list of random consonants. And during this time period, it was a powerful new statistical method that came into use. It wasn't really fully there. There were pieces missing, and the tests really wasn't developed enough to show the correlations between the responses and what Cattell was wanting or associating the response to in the end.